Hello, PJ. How are you, sir?
Great, Wags. How are you doing?
Great. Why don't you just give us a summary of what you thought of your defensive performance on Saturday versus VMI?
Oh boy, seems like ages ago right now. Excited for several of those guys to get their first opportunity. Um, Thought we came out in the first half, played our style of football, took our foot off the gas a little bit in the third quarter, and then finished the game the right way with a lot of twos and threes out there. Definitely encouraged about a lot of things that I've seen. Obviously, there's plenty of meat still left on the bone, and excited about our opportunity to get back to work and get ready for a powerful offense in UAB.
Holding them to 15 rushing yards, and I know that was a lot of sack minus yardage led to the 15, but it's still a great defensive performance in terms of rushing defense. Were you particularly pleased with that?
That's one of the big things for us is we have to be stout against the run, and obviously I think they had 50 something yards um, before sacks. Took some of the yardage off, all that type of stuff. Net 50 something net yards, excuse me. So I think that's a big deal for us. It's usually a pretty good indicator that we're playing good defense.
Coach had kind of taken the hit on the one long pass play and said it was on the coaching staff because this concept was vague or gray, as he said. Can you expound on that? I mean, would basically you put in something that maybe the players didn't quite understand exactly how it's supposed to work, or
Yeah, I don't want to go into too many details of it. Basically, we just got to coach that thing a little bit better so our guys understand how we can execute that moving forward. And I think we've got that cleaned up. I think we got it cleaned up immediately on the sideline, and I think we got it cleaned up um, throughout the course of practice the first few days this week. But yeah, it's not Coach Newberry's fault. That's 1,000% my fault, and we'll make sure that that's taken care of.
all right, that's my three.
Scott Wyckoff.
Scott Wyckoff, WBAL Radio, Baltimore. Coach, in your years now as the coordinator at the Naval Academy, what's impressed you the most when you go up against American Conference offenses?
There's nothing that really doesn't impress me, to be honest with you, Scott. I mean, these guys, explosive on offense. They're big up front. They move well. They're physical. They got backs that run with speed and power and vision. Explosive at the wide receiver position with good length. They've got a lot of tough matchups for us, and obviously they got a big, strapping quarterback that can really deliver some dimes and rifle it in there. And then they got tight ends that are big as well. And I feel like every week in the American Conference, when you pop on the tape, they're very similar traits week in and week out that we have to deal with. There's no relaxation in the schedule, if that makes sense.
With a player like Kitna, who started his career at Florida, what he took in there in that program, and now finding his stride late through the season into the early season this year, what's your biggest concern when you see a quarterback like that early in the season?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, about everything, to be honest with you, Scott. I mean, he's a obviously great pedigree. His dad is actually a high school coach in my recruiting area and does an amazing job at the school that he's at, and got a chance to know him over the last few years and really impressed with him. And obviously, I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan at heart, so I saw him with a ton of success there. And then Jalen, I mean, he's big in the pocket. He moves, he extend plays, he delivers the football. He's able to make every throw on the field. He looks like he's in complete command of the offense and what they want to do and how they want to execute it. I mean, you look at them for over 500 yards this past week. They did not punt. They didn't turn the ball over. You score 50 plus points. Like he's coming out the gate. is very impressive. He's an impressive player with all the tools.
When you go to practice each day, it seems like this team has so much competition for each position that it seems to add another layer to the preparation, not only preparing for the other team, but that internal competition. Do you see that?
Absolutely. I mean, our guys practice extremely hard. It's not always perfect, especially at this point in the season. But I am really, really excited every day to go out to practice and see these guys go out there and work extremely hard to get better. I mean, I thought we came out at yesterday practice smoking, and there's some things we got to clean up, but I was really impressed with just the way that we attack it. And it's been like that every day with this group since January. So I've come to expect it, but you definitely don't take it for granted.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thanks, Scott.
Wyatt Koppelman.
Hi, PJ. Wyatt Koppelman. I'm the co-host of a new college sports podcast called Broadway to Broadway. I'm not in the Annapolis area. I'm actually down in North Carolina right now, but glad to have the chance to speak with you and hear a little bit about your defensive philosophy. I guess going back to Saturday, you held VMI scoreless until about 8 minutes into the third quarter. What part of the game plan were you most proud of your unit executing?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of the things for us come down to sort of our style of play and the fundamentals. And for me, I want to see us, with our tackling, our block destruction, our physicality playing at a high level. And I thought we did that for a good portion of the game, but not the entire portion of the game. We missed some tackles. Proud that our effort erased a few of those things. But that may not be the case this Saturday. But I think our guys certainly did not take, playing a FCS opponent lightly by any stretch of the imagination. I think they came out ready to play. Maybe took our foot off the gas a little bit in the third quarter, but those are the things that I'm looking for when I turn on the tape. I want to see guys play in our style of play. I want to see them playing smart. I want to see them playing fast. I want to see them playing violent and together. And fundamentally, I thought we played solid, not as good as we can be, but it's week one, and I think that there's a lot of meat left on the bone in terms of those things.
And was there a particular series that you look back on and point to how Navy football should get off the field this season, especially with the blend of experience you have? You have a couple of seniors, particularly Landon and Kenny, but then you also have a little bit of youth at the corners.
Yeah, I mean, probably the 2, 3 and outs by the 2s and 3s at the end of the game was what excited me quite a bit, to be honest with you. Last year we had gotten in a few of those situations and we'd given up yards and cheap touchdowns at the end of games, and I was really pleased that our younger guys and some of the older guys that haven't got to play got an opportunity to go out there and were stingy and played to our standard. So to me, those were two that really excited me.
And just to follow up on that blended experience, what was it like actually getting on the field and getting away from having ones play against 2s and 3s at a fall camp to now seeing the youth at the corners get to work together with the secondary, the safeties that is, but also you have Julian as an edge rusher. What was that like seeing that in game?
Yeah, I was really excited for those guys. I mean, and if you ask any of them, I told them on Friday night. I mean, we're going against our offense for basically 40 practices when you put in spring practice, fall camp, OTAs, all that type of stuff. I mean, we're competing against each other for a good portion of time, and our offense is a challenge, our defense is a challenge. We challenge each other, but I think we're all ready to see somebody else across the field besides the Navy blue and gold. So I think everybody was excited for that. And all those young guys, man, like you see them, they work so hard. I mean, why here? These guys work extremely hard. Time is very, very valuable. And for guys to have the opportunity to go out there and perform on that stage in Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, it's something that we certainly do not take for granted. And I don't think any of those guys did. And I think they're just getting started. When you mentioned those young guys that had an opportunity to play. And then shoot, we had 6 new starters. I mean, coach had guys stand up on offense and defense and special teams, Friday night before the game. And there's a lot of guys that were getting their first, real game action and start. So, and they didn't get it because, of attrition. They got it because they deserved it and they were ready.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wyatt.
Yeah, Tim Nolan.
Coach Tim Nolan, Navy Athletics. Good to talk to you. PJ, want to talk about the linebackers, especially your inside backers, because the way that Job and Mark Anthony played, they were flying around and they looked just like the linebackers you had last year. How proud are you of them specifically, just the way they played in that opener?
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing that I haven't seen from those 2 guys from the get-go, from the jump. I mean, I'm always extremely proud of those guys. I think Coach Wimberly does a great job with them, helping getting those guys ready. Job making a huge jump from where he was last season. I was telling Coach Newberry, I watched all his clips from his junior year. His sophomore year to his junior year, and really he had a lot of really good clips out there as a sophomore in the 2024 season. And probably deserved to play a little bit more after I went back and watched it a little bit more closely. But really proud of him, the way he commanded the defense, the physicality that he played with. And then Mark is a stud as well. He's just brilliant. I mean, he's a fast study. And they just play the game the way that we have to play the position.
How tantalizing is it for you as a DC when you know just how much your opponents are game planning for Landon coming off a 2.5 sack game? He just commands so much attention. I got to feel like from your perspective, it opens up the entire board for you.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy that can be a game wrecker, and people have to game plan around, and for us, it's trying to figure out how they want to attack him and the things they want to do to try to neutralize him, and then for us to get him in spots where they potentially cannot do that. But I'm super super pleased with Landon and the way that he's practicing. But to anybody that's around the program, when your best players are your hardest workers, it's something exceptional, and that's certainly what we have in Landon.
Said a couple of times in this call, and there's still meat on the bone as you approach this UAB matchup. Where is that area for your defense?
Yeah, I mean, we got to be better all the way around. I mean, I don't think anywhere is good enough right now, and that's sort of the nature of being a football coach, especially early in the season. Is that we're on a constant search for improvement. Fundamentals, tackling our block destruction. I know I said I like those earlier, but I didn't love them. As my daughters would say, that's sort of our deal in the house is, you like some things, you just don't love it. So I think that's got to be better. I thought UAB last season when we played them was really physical, and we have to work really hard to be physical in this football game as well. So I'm excited about the opportunity and know that we got a major challenge ahead of us. But we got a lot of work to do, Tim, in every phase.
Thank you.
PJ, we had Kenny McShan on earlier, and he said that he wouldn't have blamed you and Coach Newberry and Coach Brown if you guys gave up on him, wrote him off as injury prone. But that didn't happen. And now, the way he played last year and the way he played in the first game, is he kind of the epitome of Navy football that you come here, no matter what happens, you're not going to be given up on?
And if you stay around here and you work hard, you're going to find your way on the field. I mean, it's just happened time and time since I've been here. I think Kenny is one of those guys that could absolutely be in that deal in terms of an epitome of Navy football. I know you and I talked about it numerous times about how charismatic he is and the type of leader that he is. He plays the game the right way. I mean, he's out there. I mean, I know the scout team and the look team, those guys don't want to block him. They don't want to catch the ball around him because he's going to try to beat the crap out of them. I would never give up on a guy that works the way that he works, and that's just impossible. You can't do that as a coach, and you see the potential. And as coaches, sometimes Strauss, we see potential in people before they even see it in themselves, and you hang on to it maybe too long. That certainly wasn't the case with Kenny. I get a little jarred up talking about Kenny because I really care for him. Seen the things that he's been through and the tough times that he's been through and the way that he's grown and come out of it. Just really, really proud of him. He's definitely a guy that epitomizes Navy football and the brotherhood and everything that we look to represent.
Thank you. Wags.
Mark Anthony Parker, Coach New said he was very disappointed that the appeal did not get was not successful. He just did not feel that was targeting. Can you kind of talk about your view? And I don't know how they exactly define targeting, leading with your helmet.
We have to be careful here, Wags. There is league rules, so he can only say so much.
Well, just your thoughts in general.
I've seen worse.
He can talk about what we're going to do at the position in the first half. Would be better question.
Yeah, I've seen.
Trying to save PJ some money.
Yeah, thank you. I'm trying my best.
Well, I mean, is it? I think you can say whether. I mean, does it? In your view, did it not meet what the criteria of targeting is, or is it a gray area?
We appealed it, so it was turned down. We wouldn't have appealed it, but that's all we can say. We appealed it.
Yeah. So we've got to be a little bit lower on the tackle, and we talked about that. We showed it, and we got to improve that moving forward.
Who do you think will start in place of Mark Anthony on Saturday in the first half?
Yeah, we got a good battle going on there through a few guys. Marcus Blazard, Ian Pouchot, Nolan McCamey, all those guys getting a bunch of reps at practice. I'm pretty excited about the opportunity for one of those guys. It's going to be whoever practices the best. And those guys are making my job difficult, which is a good thing.
Blazard's healthy?
Yes.
And then McCamey's the guy that's kind of came out of nowhere. What did you like about him? I noticed one scrimmage at the stadium he was making some plays. I had to get my roster out and say, who is that guy?
Yeah, he's another guy that worked really hard going into his sophomore year. Probably didn't get out. I think sophomore year's a little challenging sometimes when guys work really hard and they don't always see the fruits of their labor. And Nolan was probably in that boat where he got himself in great shape, had worked really hard to learn the playbook and play our style of play. Just wasn't quite there yet. Probably got a little frustrated during his sophomore year, and then really started to come along, at last spring and in this fall camp. I mean, he's just a much better football player and teammate than he was at this point a year ago. And you're right, he's made some plays in fall camp, shown physicality, suddenness, burst, athleticism. And he's a guy that I think our entire coaching staff is starting to gain a lot of confidence and trust in, getting some action on special teams and doing well in that regard. So I think he's a name that people around here will know here shortly.
And last for me, secondary, the guy completed some passes. Coach New was not happy with some of the conversions of 3rd and long. Was it, it's a young secondary, 3 first-time starters. You're no doubt going to have growing pains. What's your assessment of the secondary, and is that an area that you feel can be sharpened?
Oh yeah, I mean, we can be better everywhere. I really have a lot of confidence in those guys on the back end. First time, getting out there, being in that environment for a lot of those guys. A couple of the things on 3rd down, we just we just got to get ironed up a little bit and understand exactly where our eyes are and what we need to be doing. Great defense knows where its help is, and at certain times we didn't know where our help was. So we just got to coach that better and continue to drill that better. So we do know where those things are, and we can execute that at a high level. And third down, we got to be able to get off the field. We can't allow conversions on in third and long situations.
Thanks, and I'm sorry that I did not follow the directions and introduce myself as Bill Wagner from the Baltimore Sun and the Capital newspaper. I wanted to make sure you knew who I was.
Thanks, Wags. I'm sure Strauss will.
I'm keeping tally.
He might find you now.
Yeah, that's a fine. No food in the press box on Saturday. Scott Wyckoff.
Coach, in this changing age of college football, one thing that's becoming more and more unique to the Naval Academy is the late afternoon practice. How do you like having the guys late in the afternoon, kind of old school, once they're done with their day, looking forward to football?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I think it gives us a block of time that we're together. When I first got here, we had 12:25 meetings at lunch, and then they'd go back and maybe have a class or two, depending on their schedule, and then come back and still have afternoon practice. Coach has been able, and obviously with the administration here, to get some of those things ironed out and changed, and we're able to meet and then get it right out on the practice field afterwards. So I think it helps us retain a little bit more information with the, scouting report, the install, the different things that we're looking for, and enables us to, football time's football time. We're able to compartmentalize a little bit better and go from there. But I really do enjoy it. When I was at Georgia State, we were a morning team, and we started every day at 8, and we had our guys basically in the building from 8 till noon. It wasn't 4 hours of football the whole time, but had those guys in the morning. And there's some things to be said for that, but I didn't like it nearly as much as the traditional model being in the afternoon.
Thanks, Coach.
No problem. Thanks, Scott.
Mr. Koppelman.
Yeah, PJ, I mean, I guess coming off a game in which you keep a team to 7 points, you mentioned earlier how this team, particularly your unit, didn't look at this opponent lightly in week 1. How do you keep a unit like this that has a blend of experience grounded after such a dominant performance in week 1?
They just turn on the tape and watch UAB on offense and see those guys score. I mean, see them score 52 points and, like I said, not punt. I don't think you're only as good as the next play. You're only as good as your next game. And we've talked about all off season around here. Every day is an interview. There's nobody in this program that rests on anything we've previously done. That's for sure. And Coach Newberry does a great job making sure that our guys understand that from the get-go. And whether it's a rep, whether it's a workout, whether it's a test, whether it's practice, a game, anything like that, it's always that 1-0 mentality and that 1-0 mindset, and that's something that we strive to do at a really high level. Wide.
And how have you seen the collective understanding of your unit, from the linebackers to the secondary, fully understand or develop an understanding for the system that you look to build, not only as Navy hopes to be a great defensive unit in the conference, but in the country over the past couple of years?
Yeah, that's always a challenge, is to get guys to understand the scheme and really how the whole thing works. And I mentioned before, great defense knows where its help is. That's something that's big for us is, during camp, don't quite get to do it as much during season, but we get guys up on the board and they explain the entire defense, every position to the entire defense, so, one of the most impressive ones was Landon Robinson getting up there and talking about all 11 guys on the field on a particular call. And that was probably one of the more impressive ones that I think we've seen. And I think you get in those, you give guys opportunity to command the room and get up front in front of people like that. I think there was probably some freshmen in the room that when he got up there and did that, we're like, holy smokes, I got some studying to do. I got some work to do to be able to get me to that point where I can really be a player and understand that at a really high level. So, it's a growth deal. Everybody's at different spots, and I think that's the not just positions, but different spots in terms of their level of understanding and their learning level. And it's really important and imperative as coaches to find what that level is and then meet them at that level to continue to try to raise them up to what we need to get them to ultimately.
And you mentioned Landon. He had a couple sacks in week 1, picked up seemingly right where he left off from last season with the 4 sacks that he had. What do you think is the biggest thing that younger players on this defense entirely can pick up from him, even beyond the fact that he's going up there and he's explained? Because I know that he said last week that he's a former gymnast too.
Yeah, I did not know that he was a gymnast. So I guess you learn something new every day. It doesn't surprise me at all. But his work ethic. I mean, and we got a lot of guys that work really hard, but he's one of our best players, one of the best players I've been around since I've been here, and he works as hard, if not harder, than anyone. And the amount of film that he watches and tape he studies, I think is phenomenal. The amount of time that he spends on health, nutrition, in the weight room, getting obviously the lifts that we get in, but then getting auxiliary lifts in to get his body right, to get in the boots, to get in the cold tubs, to work the recovery, to make sure that he's healthy and feeling the best as possible in one of the most physically demanding positions in all of sports. I just think the level of detail that he goes about his work is something that everybody can learn from.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wyatt.
Landon's younger brother is also a gymnast.
Thanks.
Tim Nolan.
Just one more from me, Coach. On a given weekend, aside from Navy film, Navy game day, how much other football do you typically watch?
A good amount, as much as you can, and in coaching, you got friends that are everywhere. You grow up. Sometimes at some point you get the itch where you just feel like the game is drawing you in, is it's got a gravitational pull on you, all that type of stuff. And I'm from Cincinnati, so I've been a Bengals fan, but then as you go through it and you go into coaching, you end up having buddies that are on different teams all over the country, and in Division III, Division II, FCS, Division 1A, Power 4 in the NFL, and they become fans of yours, and you like them on and you become fans of them, and then you like them on ESPN and search their scores. And my wife's friends with a lot of their wives, so we sit down and we come home and we watch them play. So we get done with football, and then we go watch football during our free time. And as coaches, you come back in and you generally talk about the other football that you saw, and you're studying and trying to find what guys did to be successful too in other games, to see if there's anything that you could steal from them to make your football team a little bit better. And, we got a situational reel that we'll watch every week to try to help us understand situations and things like that as well too. So we got access to a lot, Tim, not just on national television and ESPN and things like that, but got access to a lot here internally as well. So we spend a lot of time watching our opponent, watching us, and then trying to find ways to get better, and also entertainment.
Right on. See you at practice.
Thanks, Tim.
Not only ESPN, but do not forget CBS and CBS Sports Network as well.
No, I will never forget them. You're right.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Coach Volker.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.